announcers. So, without further ado, could you please give a warm round welcome from the United States of America, Brother Rich and Black Dot.
Peace. Peace, fam. It's a pleasure to be here. Deep down inside, I've been waiting a long time to get back here. Last time I was here was 1990. I was the hype man for Tim Dog. So the whole fuck Compton thing, the whole East Coast, West Coast thing jumped off with Tim Dog. And I came here and I was very, very impressed and surprised on how much the UK knew about the history of hip hop. You know, because when you're living in the Bronx and you come here, you don't know what to expect. And I came here and saw people who look just like me. You know what I'm saying? So when I got back to the hood, I was telling brothers, listen, we all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Brothers who look just like me, talk just like me, are here. So certain hiatus in terms of how, you know, my journey traveled. I had to leave hip-hop alone for a minute. The minute it started turning too commercial and I had to sell my soul, I had to go get a job. You know what I'm saying? And I started driving a bus for the city. 15 years like this. But when you love something, but you step outside of it and look back in on it, it's just like a relationship with a girl. When you walk out of it, then you be like, damn, all of that was going on inside. So sometimes you have to step back. So during that 15 years, I began to chronicle, you know, what I was picking up from hip-hop that I couldn't see on the inside. Because when you're on the inside, it's moving very fast. You're moving from city to city, state to state, you know, sound check, hotel rooms, get paid, get on the plane, get off the plane, sound check, hotel rooms, get on the plane. It becomes very monotonous. And it sounds fun for about a week, maybe 2 weeks. Then you start missing being home. You start missing getting home-cooked meals, you know, things of that nature, because you're eating shit on the road. You know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff. Stuff that you normally wouldn't eat and things of that nature. So it ain't all what it's cracked up to be. Now, if you've seen the movie, the cartoon, what's this cartoon? Say it again? Boondocks. Not Boondocks. We're going to talk about Boondocks, though. It's the movie where we were superheroes. And we had to suppress our energy and take Incredibles. Anybody seen the cartoon, The Incredibles? That was my life story. So I began, you know, sitting there just driving a bus, monotonous stuff, you know what I mean? But my mind was traveling, and I kind of felt I was suppressing the real work I was supposed to be doing. So I had to leave the bus alone and begin to start doing the work that I feel I'm here to do. And this is the work. Hip-hop is over 30 years old now, and we are now beginning to get into the advanced lessons and the advanced science of who some of these individuals were. So that's my intro. I'm going to turn it over to Brother Rich. He's going to tell you who he is and why he's here.
Alright, peace family. Thanks for having me. You know, I'm happy to be here. And since Brother Black Dot put me on, you know, it's been a pleasure to just know that brothers in the UK want to hear what I got to say. And I started getting into hip-hop since I could remember. I was like this tall. And my first album, as the brother got the shirt on right there, was It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold It Back, Public Enemy. But at the time, I was just so entrenched into it. The older dudes was listening to it, and I was just like, this shit is dope. And I always loved it. Everywhere I used to go, I was always just rhyming. They're like, this Rich always rhyming. He's always rhyming, but I just loved it. Everybody was breakdancing. People was beatboxing. Everywhere you went, you saw the fashion, you saw the trends. And there was just a certain swagger that we had that if you wasn't hip-hop, you didn't understand it. But as I got older and I started listening to the knowledge and I started getting into it, I'm like, damn, that's what Public Enemy was really talking about. It took me somewhere else. And as I get older now, I'm starting to really get into the knowledge and really see it. I'm like, hold on, it means something on a whole nother level. So pretty much today what we're here to do is just lift the veil and show that we've been doing magic all along. Our music is here to tear down the wall of third dimension, third density, and take us to another place. That swagger is not just something that you walk around and show off with. It's a whole reality, and you can walk into other places with a certain rhythm, a certain vibration. And that's what hip-hop really brings. It's a style, it's a trend, it's an essence, if anything, you know what I mean? And it activates it, melanin, and pretty much that's what we're here to talk about today. So thank you for having myself and Brother Black Dot.
All right, so with that said, let's get into it.
Let's go.
All right, we're going to start here. Y'all can bring the lights down now if you want in the back. Let me pull this over to the side just for a second. these three individuals in particular, Hercules, which his name is short for, because he stood about 6'4", 6'5", and he had a monster sound system. His sound system was so powerful you can hear it from 4 and 5, 6, 7 blocks away up in the Bronx. So he is very key. He also came from Jamaica, so he brought the whole toasting essence to hip hop. Only thing, he didn't use reggae records when he got to the Bronx because that wasn't the frequency that the brothers and sisters in the Bronx was on. So he took the whole science of using the 2 turntables with the massive system, bringing it out into the street, and he was sounding off a call. The sound that was coming was resonating through the projects, bouncing off walls, and waking brothers and sisters up. All right? So we heard those drums because we know the drums are in us. Our heartbeat. We're walking drum. That's why brothers walk with a bop, because they got the drums going on inside, internally. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that's all about. He represented the massive sound system, and he had the Herculean figure. All right? Africa Bambaataa of the Zulu nation. Archetype, just using the word Africa, put us in a place that in the Bronx we had forgot that we had brothers and sisters in Africa. His name, Bambaataa, of the mighty Zulu nation. And when I say mighty, I bear witness that the Zulu nation in the 70s was a powerful organization. Still is today, but a lot of COINTELPRO jumped in and split us up and things of that nature. So he was a leader of the Black Spades, which was a gang. See, in the 70s in the Bronx, we had a whole bunch of burnt down buildings and a whole bunch of gangs. We had no jobs, but brothers was getting together, and he decided, after hearing Kool Herc, that we needed to do something else. So he put the call out for brothers and sisters. We can still be gang-like or united somewhat and show strength, but now we got lessons. He had lessons that we had to study, which was plugging us back in to who we were cosmically. And we're going to break that down as well. The Grand Master Flash. His name says it all. He was a Grand Master architect at what he did. He was the one who brought the electronic ability to switch from one turntable to the next turntable. While this turntable is playing, you can hear and cue up this turntable. Before that, Herc was doing it, but it was kind of primitive. Flash, who was majoring in electronics, you know what I'm saying, understood, and he loved records as well. So he created the cut, from mixing from one turntable to the next to take that breakbeat that Kool Herc and Bam were using and extend the breakbeat. Sometimes the breakbeat on the record might have been 3 seconds. So your level of turntable skills to keep the breakbeat going was what determined if you was a great DJ or you was not a great DJ. Now these DJs was doing this in a way that they would dig in the crate of records, put the record on, take the needle, which is carbon. All right, so we're still dealing with science when you talk about the record being 360 degrees of melanin, pure blackness, spinning, opening up vortex, but the record needle was made out of a diamond, so to speak, so it was carbon. So you're still alchemically dealing with stuff. So they would put the record on exactly where the breakbeat was. They didn't have to search long, they knew. Also, records had grooves where they was cutting and scratching, so this was done simultaneously. Now, they also call Africa Bambaataa the master of records, because his library of records was extensive, and it still is. I talked to him recently. He still can tell you what this music came from, where that music came from. What he would do is, and they all would do it, they would cover their records. So you would have to go do your own research. You couldn't just come up and see what Africa Bambaataa was playing. So all of that became a science, and where he would test out some of these breakbeats was, he lived in the projects, but he would put a cardboard downstairs, because it's like on the second floor, and he would play and be scratching out his window. B-boys would come along, and if they was breakdancing on certain records, he knew that these breakbeats was good. He would try something else. Brothers would stand around like that shit is whack. So he knew that that would go in that pile, and that's how he knew when he got to the jam itself, which records would trigger, which records would get the crowd jumping in certain ways. What I'm about to do now, because now we've taken you from the Genesis, these three, and they're all from the Caribbean islands. They're all from Jamaica, Barbados. So they were bringing a sound, they were bringing it full circle back to us. You know what I'm saying? The ones who were born in America, we was called into something else at that particular time. So these three individuals were the ones responsible for this current vibration, or the original current vibration of hip-hop. I say that because hip-hop is nothing new. We've been dancing, we've been writing, the oracle's been speaking, and we've been pounding the drum forever. It's the way we communicate, the way we have been communicating. But the current vibration of it, when the time it showed up, was this particular vibration of hip-hop. So today's libation is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to take you back to 1973. Before brothers was even rhyming on records, the DJ reigned supreme. All right? All he did was sound the call and play certain breakbeats, and it resonated, and we came out, and hip-hop itself was born out of that. It began to trigger different brothers to write, to start breakdancing, and B-Boy, on Quiet as Kept Tip, Herc was calling the brothers and sisters, or the brothers in particular, boyoings. So we think B-Boy, or the B-Boy meant breaker, but Herc was calling them boyoings because they was bouncing up and down so much. You know what I'm saying? He didn't necessarily was with that at first because it was something that he wasn't accustomed to over in Jamaica. So when brothers started expressing themselves, bouncing up and down off the floor, he called them boyoings. And if anybody else tell you anything different, you tell them to come see me. I know that for a fact. All right, so with that said, I want you to just sit back and relax. We're going to play these break beats, which is going to serve as the drummer. We can call out a few ancestors in between that. You can do it in your head. It don't have to be external. It could be internal because all is mental anyway. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some of these beats.
The breakbeat is that part that you look for in a record that let your God self just get wild. And then as soon as that breakbeat leaves, you say like, it's only a minute, it's only 30 seconds, oh, you want to hear some more. So that's where the hip hop DJs came in and started making that beat, that breakbeat, that stripped down funk, that span longer and longer, where you can just get crazier.
The sound ain't gonna be loud. I thought it'll be louder, but just get into it.
Well, I guess it was 73, and a lot of these DJs, they were basically playing, kind of like a disco club type of thing, A lot of stuff was being played on the radio, a lot of popular stuff. And out of all of that came this Rel, Cool Hill. He wouldn't play that in an album track. He would play a break from a song inside the album, so it was like beats and rhythms and, his style was really like God.
This assassin is
One, two, we're gonna take this back. What up, you now rock with the sounds of turntable sounds and smooth it down. Violate all-star DJ and all that. About to take it back to the park.
what we would be doing would be standing around the road, watching the DJ display his skill. Because it sounds easy, it's not easy to keep that rhythm on tempo and have them sounds go out. Alright, we're gonna just all-star DJs. On your end, somebody else might be searching for records, and they was coming up with all kind of stuff. This became the fabric for what hip-hop is today. Let's see what else we got.
It's the turntable assassin, DJ Smooth Denali, taking you up.
This was the Breakers, this was one of their classics. And they wouldn't break yet. And it was on. Now let me pause for a minute, because I just want to walk y'all through this. Certain sounds created certain energies within the people. Certain joints I'm going to put on, when they came on at the jam got shot up. Mainly because the drums were so, I could tell that they were warrior drums. Remember, we used to play the drum and we could convey messages just through the drum itself. So when life was being born or we was time to go to war, we played the drums a certain way. Slave masters banned the drums during slave time because after we played the drum, slave masters' heads started rolling in the field. Until they figured that shit out. Like, hold on. They playing this drum, and they not physically talking, but everybody's meeting up at the same place and starting shit. You know what I'm saying? So they banned the drum. They said, look, you can have all that other shit. Y'all cannot have the drum. And that also gave birth to hip-hop, because when they started taking all the drums and all the music equipment out of the classrooms, we had to find another way to make this work. So, you know, for every action is an equal and opposite reaction. And the more pressure they put on that diamond, which is us, the more we perform and do what we have to do. All right, let's see. It's James Brown. Huh. He just clearing his throat, motherfucker scratching. Huh? James Brown, the father of hip-hop. He had more breakbeats than anybody else. Now, Grand Wizard Theodore is the one who created the scratch. All right, the one he began to manipulate time and matter, because the record, again, is the only full representation of sound. A CD is not. It's what sound would sound like if it was sound. All right, so the CD is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? When we had them 40-band equalizers and we can tune that music in, it was resonating on that disc, that carbon hitting that melanin, spinning. It was doing something tremendous for us. All right? So that was when Theodore began to create the scratch, he was literally manipulating time and space as we saw it. Play a few more. When this shit came on, the party got shot up. Because it just had that rugged, like, You know what I'm saying? The energy, it was vibrating here. You know what I'm saying? It had the low vibration to it. You know what I'm saying? That low end theory we're going to talk about. So brothers stopped looking at the sisters at that particular point and began to like, yo, fuck you looking at? You know what I'm saying? That's what it became. When certain joints came on, the energy within the record itself, because this had to be some warrior shit. You know what I'm saying? The actual sound of the drums itself. You know, Rakim took this, killed this. And those first records were just samples from the records that we had heard in the 70s.
What up, boy?
Listen to them drums. Alright, y'all get the idea? Alright, so now we moving from the Genesis and we're going to take this up. That breakbeat was very important because it was the call. It was like somebody sitting here beating the drum and you in the field picking and you know what time it is. So when Herc gave a block party inside a community room, so many people showed up that he had to move it outside to Cedar Park. And when he moved it outside to Cedar Park, 2,000-3,000 people showed up. Hip hop began to move fast. Yeah.
And it's real important to hear where the samples came from. The samples came in when you hear the Rakim sample, that's when I came in. The lyricism came into it. So in the Genesis, as Doc puts it so well, you just had the beat and people was just dancing, but it had to evolve, and that's where we're gonna go with it, where it transformed. And people started laying down the rhymes to it, and then beats, it just did something to you, but you had to start putting words to it, and that's what we're gonna get into.
Yes, sir. All right, we're gonna start here. Planet Rock, the album. Africa Bambaataa. Look, he's coming down from out of a whole other planet to Earth spinning on a record.
It actually looks like a whole other dimension. If you look at it, this looks like fourth dimension coming down to Earth, and we coming down on records to invade and drop a jewel how to get out of here. It looks like we're not even from here. They're letting you know, look, we gods, and we're going somewhere else with the force, the soul sonic force. And that's actually what hip hop actually does. It opens up a whole new portal, and the album covers don't lie. It's in our Akashic records, our DNA, to just display things that might have not been fully understood at the time, but they dressed the part and they wore because they knew that's who they were naturally. So if you look at it, it's like they're sending a whole new cosmic message, letting you know we're from a whole nother place.
You know what I'm saying? And Africa Bambaataa said that from the beginning. He was the first one to even get us from the hip-hop community to look beyond this dimension. Soul, sonic. Soul, that's our melanin. That's who we are. Sonic, we know, is sound, force. So he's telling you that it's a force from within. Now, I will say this. I'm pretty sure Africa Bambaataa knew that. Not everyone knew this. We're going to show you some album covers, and they're not going to be in any particular form. So we're not going to get linear with it and bring you from the 70s with the album covers on up. We're going to use them and move them around, but with the knowledge and understanding we have now, we're going to show you, even in our hood attitude, we still were spiritual people. All right? We understand that beyond anything else, we are spirits having a human experience.
Some things are just ahead of their time.
Exactly.
The albums don't necessarily go in order. Some things just came at a time where it was too advanced. Rakim was too advanced. A lot of people weren't ready. People are just catching up to what he was saying now. And the album imagery, this is what they're trying to discover now. Like, how can they go to other dimensions? And Bambaataa was telling you, we already did that. We're just trying to remember. And that's what hip-hop does.
Boom. Nas. This was a classic album cover. He was telling you, I am all that I used to be. We simply forgot who we was, or who we are. And these album covers are just sigils and archetypes to remind us along the way so we can begin to intertwine that DNA back to who we was, who we are, and who we always will be. Hip-hop was that force, that music. And remember, when this was jumping off, this is a part of the time when they was COINTELPRO or the hip-hop police and all them began to get back in to break this up, because they began to figure out that we were conveying messages even on a subconscious level to each other. Because remember, the conscious mind is the weakest mind. It's your subconscious, superconscious mind that they really after. You know what I'm saying? That's what this is really all about. So a lot of times they're conveying messages to each other. That's what masonry is all about. It's not about the reed and all that old shit. It's about signs, symbols, and archetypes. speaking in languages that don't require language or verbal language. So once you begin to figure out, Masons are having major conversations with each other on television. The way they move their hands, the way they lean, and they're telling those who are in the higher order, I'm just here bullshitting these TV people. Watch my hands, you know where I stand. All of that's critical. So we kind of forgot who we were, and a lot of times we're waiting for the great ones to come back, but we the great ones. We here already. Boom. Look at that. That's Akhenaten and my boy RZA. That shit is crazy.
That's in our genetic bloodline. In our genetic bloodline, let us know who we were. Scientists try to say that Akhenaten had elephantiasis or some craziness that made his lips bubble all big, but if you look, it's us. They'd do anything to deface you and let you know it wasn't you that blow the nose off, but if you look, the RZA, grandmaster producer, he's of the same lineage, and that's why he is so masterful. And you can't take nothing with the same cheekbone structure, that's him.
And we all know somebody who look like Akhenaten, and I got cousins with heads big as this. Like, damn, where nigga where you get this head from? You know what I mean? Because it is who we are. Look at Jordan, look at homie here. If I put this garb on Jordan, come on. And Jordan can fly. He's telling you, this is who I am.
And keep Jordan in mind, because we're going to talk about him a little bit later. He's giving you an offering. That sneaker is an offering. We're going to break down the whole science of Jordan, his shoes, and what it really means. Because Jordan, that is the blood lineage. And the cracker knows who Jordan is. He knows that Michael Jordan's DNA is a pristine element that he has to house and keep us from knowing who Michael Jordan actually is. And that's Jordan's lineage. That's why he can fly. He's of royalty.
Exactly. All right? Look at the Queen Latifah.
Gotta give it up to the sister.
When she used to wear the crown, you know what I'm saying? That was an archetype symbol telling us, oh wow, our sisters did wear crowns. Her name is Dana Owens now. You know, they knocked the crown off Queen Latifah's head a long time ago. All right? They bended that with putting her in these movies that have nothing to do with royalty whatsoever.
Making her take that crown off and wear that blonde wig and all that crazy.
Yes, yes, that is a ritual in Hollywood. Turn your hair from black to blonde. And you know, your hair represents your crown. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It represents so much of spiraling energies, how we receive messages from beyond with our hair, our crowns. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. Because your crown will represent your state of consciousness at any given time. So they systematically tore this sister down. But she allowed it to happen. Because if you want to play in Hollywood, if you want to play, there's just a certain protocol that goes along with that play.
You got to conform.
And they're doing rituals with everything they do. By the time we finish here tonight, we're going to show and prove that. You know what I'm saying? So while we in this realm, they're in other realms playing checkers and chess pieces with movies and movie characters that trickle down from the astral plane into a third dimension. Because we accept it through our psyche. And once we accept it, ball game. Because all they really want to do is get into our heads and make us think it's our own thoughts. We agree on everything we see, and everything that is going on is a collective agreement from us. We just don't know. All right? And they're using us as talisman. We're going to get into that too. Look at that. Look at that pose by Mary J. Blige. And Sphinx, which we know is female.
All of the phenotypes are intact. Then, you know, we're still the same people doing the same magic. And these album covers are delivering a message. Let us know, let's get back. Let's get back into our science, because 2012 is arriving. It's time to get out of here. It's time to do other things. And they're trying to have us not actually look at the image and perceive it. But I know that a brother like me, I came in time, I came back, and I'm here to perfect the science and put a reality to these images. That's why we're putting them in a certain order for you now to see, look at your music. The music is an unlock. The music is the key. The music is the And if you put the key in proper place, you can unlock all of the suppressed, dormant energy inside of you. We're sleeping giants. And all of this will wake you up just by remembering who you were, looking back in time.
Now, she may have not known that she took that photo in that position, or may not have known what it meant. But they know what it means. And they are using it to convey other messages. If I just saw that picture, because I knew what it was the minute I saw it, because I recognized the Sphinx at that angle. You see what I'm saying? But not saying she did, because all of them videos, a lot of times, someone else is producing those videos or coming up with the treatment for the video. You know what I'm saying? And they know what time it is, and we know we just show up, play our part. You know what I'm saying? Very few, some of us do know. Hit the next slide.
In other words, they acknowledge who we are more than we do. They'll even put us in position, and the white man is very arrogant. He'll put it out there just to see if we recognize it. But we are recognizing now, the few of us who are in here are waking up.
Look at that.
Look at that.
You see what I'm saying? You can't tell me he's not from the old Mac family. I told him that recently. I'm like, dude, your head is like big. You know, no disrespect. You know, this shit is like giants.
That's why we built those colossal heads, so we can remember it, and now you can't say nothing.
And look at his nose. The more oxygen to the brain, the more you can achieve and assess. We know oxygen is everything. Say it again? KRS-One. KRS-One. Blastmaster. KRS.
That's
the teacher. You know what I mean? So he said himself, he's not sure if he's from the old Mac family. You know what I'm saying? But we waiting for somebody to come back and they hear. It is you. It is I. It is us. We here. Let's stop playing.
And it's crazy because the white man says the reason why the old man heads look like that is they say we didn't have enough defined tools to actually, you know, make the noses look a little bit finer. But you can't say that's not KRS. The white man will say anything to take away your credentials. And these ball players was fierce. The old man heads symbolized the ball players, the masters. They wore the leather helmets, as you can see. And they played a ball game that replicated the cosmos, the Milky Way galaxy, and they had to shoot through a hole to replicate the sun going back into the underworld. And the winner would get his head chopped off to go into the underworld to send prophetic messages to bring back energy towards the earth. So they reenacted the galactic cosmic procession of the equinoxes every time they played. Those are some fierce warriors. They had no fear. And you see the master teacher trying to remind us, have no fear. We at war right now.
The winner would get his head chopped off.
The winner, you look forward. You look forward to dying.
Imagine that sitting out there. I'm like, nah, son, go ahead. You got it. You got it. Damn, son, I lost. Damn, bro. Bye. They wanted to win to go back to win because they know this is a suit. We wearing this shit.
That's like how Biggie was telling you, I'm ready to die. These brothers was ready to die because they knew this was not real. That's what the whole message of our whole legacy is about, that this is not real and we got to go back somewhere else. That's what Bambaataa was showing you. We come from another place, but we're visiting Earth. We're spiritual people having an earthly experience. And that's what this whole thing is about.
Next. Boom. Deep. Because mind patterns are everything. When a rapper saying, I'm just keeping it real, I'm just rounding about what I see, the question I always pose is, who put these things here for you to see? And if all you are using to garner and project out is things that you see, that means that someone else can control the future. That's how they control the future. Pre-existing conditions plus current thought stream equals future conditions. And that's the way their alchemical process works. That's how they control the future, by giving you things to keep you grounded and projected on this nonsense. So if you come out and all you see is drug dealers, hookers, crime, and that's what you're projecting out. Remember, thought is everything. It's the building block for everything. So if that's what you're projecting out, your pineal gland is crime, murder, because that's the illusion that you're picking up. It's all an illusion, and you're projecting that out. We are participating in our own demise. We are running in place, wanting to know why we can't get to a future that we desire, because we're still saturated in a third-dimensional paradigm that has been designed this way to keep them in control of the future. I talked about that yesterday. We are so busy on what's going on now. They are projecting the future because they know once they get to our babies, and our babies are growing up, our baby, if they can control the babies, they can control the future. It's not high science. But we caught it now. I got to pay my bill right now. I can't be running. That's what we are programmed to be thought into. And mind patterns. This is what shaped this man's mind when he stepped out as a young, and keep in mind, young children have so much power and so much energy that we shut off by bringing them into this third dimensional paradigm and locking them down. Don't lock your children down. My daughter, every day she's somewhere else with it. She talks to herself, and I don't bother her. Sometimes we catch each other talking to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm having a conversation here, she's having a conversation there. I don't want to stunt her creativity and her ability to perceive things how she wants to perceive them. That's very important. But we train them, look, shut up, sit down, stop being crazy. You see what I'm saying? And then we lock them in. And children in particular, when they are first born, remember, they're coming from a whole different place. They're trying to convey, and they're looking at us like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? But they can't even talk yet. You know what I mean? So, but by the time they're able to talk, we give them a language that is not their language. And we lock them down. Next.
This album, before we go, this album pretty much shaped my life. I was into Nas heavy. And he was saying that he was like, Nas is like the Afrocentric Asian, half man, half amazing. He was letting you know that we were partly human, but really something else. And this album, if you look at it, he showed himself as the pharaoh, then as a child. He showed his progression and mutation that he was transforming. In the backdrop, we got the projects. He was letting you know the gods is coming from the hood, where the people are oppressed. And he was letting you know, listen to the mind of the black man. He was putting his baby picture on there like, I got something to say. And that was real profound what he said. I'm half man, half amazing. Nobody at the time was saying stuff like that. And he comes from a background of the nation of gods and earth. So he was fusing 5% lessons into the rhymes and letting people know we got to get back to the source of where consciousness is at. Because that's what rhymes really is. You take that out of it, now you just have, you know, an empty cookie cutter. But what type of ingredients are you putting in? Nas came in and put the real ingredients. And if you listen to his new album, he's telling you, don't let him kill me. I'm seeing something that's worth dying for. So, you know, that's real rare to get MCs going in. And you're seeing his growth. He's showing you it was written. This was already written. He's letting you know that there's a prophecy that's unfolding. And as the prophecy unfolds, you look in the mirror, you see yourself. It's nothing but yourself. It all applies to you.
And he was becoming a warrior. He was getting his lessons and initiation from the hood. You know what I'm saying? So he's also showing that. You know what I'm saying? His progression, growing. It's already been written. You can't walk with fear. It's already been written. Listen, the time you have to spend here, it's already been written. Enjoy it, but get on your grind. Get on your grind and do what you're supposed to be doing. Not doing what I was supposed to be doing almost killed me. And I got a book coming out in March, and I'll get in greater detail. I was literally dying from the inside because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was sitting on the bus, and my mind started resenting my body because my mind was so far ahead of my body, and my mind was looking back like, look at you, look at you. You a loser. You just sitting here doing this rudimentary shit. We are far beyond that. It wasn't until I basically got on my deathbed that my book was written. You see what I'm saying? And then all the doors start opening up, the ancestors start making ways. So I walk with no fear. I be in all kind of places. Dolo. Under surveillance. I see them. I just came from Atlanta a couple of months ago, and they was following me so much I started to ask them, did they want a cup of coffee? That's how close. I'm like, dude, come on. Y'all want coffee or something? I know y'all want coffee and donuts. I know y'all do. You see what I'm saying? But this work has to be done. You know what I'm saying? It's no money, it's no glory in this. Nothing. It's this work that has to be done. And we all have a job to do here. We all have a job to do here. Next. Nostradamus.
Letting you know he has the clarity to be able to see into the future. And all that stuff about Nostradamus, we are the true prophets. All the shit that we wrote on the hieroglyphics about us going into bondage is letting you know, wake up, y'all. So now he got the clothes looking like a Jedi Knight, letting you know that we see everything from the same place. My reference points that I came up from the project. So as they applied that pressure, you know, if you apply pressure on coal, on the blackness, you become a diamond. So he's letting you know, I got that diamond mind, I can see everything. And he's letting you know through his rhymes, if you listen to my metaphors and my flows, I'm going to paint a picture that's so beautiful that if you really tune in, it's going to be so clear that you're going to walk in the same light. And it's a sacrifice. He's growing. He's growing in wisdom, that he's beyond his years.
Exactly.
He was
he's beyond
his years. He was in his 20s, but he's letting you know, I'm calling on my ancestors, and when that feels inside of me, man, I'm going to give you wisdom that is insurmountable.
Next. Yeah, I can't come behind that shit you just said.
Word up.
Boom.
Still slaves.
But when all the smoke comes and clears, we're still treated as slaves. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's where he's got an N on his back, enslaved whipped. But he really wanted to name this particular album Nigga. And they gave him a whole bunch of flack from it, and he buckled at the very last minute and just decided to give you some sigils. Right. To let you know you still a nigga. Care how much money you make or how many lessons you study in their eyes. You see what I'm saying? So that's why this cover was so deep, where he, you know, pretty much laid this stuff out.
There ain't no freedom of speech because they could simply silence you. You can't call a nigga. Why can't I call and let my people know what you've been doing to me all these years? So you know what? Fine. A picture's worth 1,000 words. I'll put it on my back and let them know. It's all about us.
And the alchemical process of the word nigga itself. You know what I'm saying? They can say what they want to say, but them young dudes in the hood change the vibration, the frequency of that word.
And Nas has a song on the album saying, no matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now. A very profound song, let them know we here now. The time is now. You can't really stop us.
And the language itself is a collective agreement. If we agree to, yo, son, that shirt is hot. Don't mean his shirt is on fucking fire.
Word.
You see what I'm saying? But we understand what it means. You see what I'm saying? Because we have collectively agreed that it's not our language. It told you in the Matrix, some rules can be bent and some rules can be broken. The English language is a linear, dumbed down language. Alright? So we had to throw some salt and pepper on that shit. And bend it, you know what I'm saying? Because the way we picking up sound is totally different. So when I can come to any hood and listen for 10 minutes and I got the lingo, I know how to communicate. And that also goes back to slavery time when we had to verbally communicate without slave master knowing it was about to pop off. So we created all these little songs that had 2 and 3 different meanings based on with your level of intelligence. If you heard it, it might just sound like a song, but it was also giving us deep instruction. You know what I mean? So hip-hop in itself, and a lot of our young brothers and sisters don't remember being hit with a whip or water hose. The next generation don't remember that. Hip-hop was bridging that gap with Public Enemy, KRS-One, X-Clan, Grand Nubian. They were bridging the gap. That's why they put Malcolm and Martin and all of them at the beginning of a lot of those records, because they were taking the baton from the civil rights movement and carrying it on. Then the Matrix kicked in. And they understood, they saw the picture, they stepped back and saw what we was doing, and they began to counter that with NWA and the Ghetto Boys, and we're going to talk about that. You see what I'm saying? Because they're not looking for people, they're looking for energy. I mentioned that yesterday. Because if the spirit of the people is moved, they cannot stop us now. As Nas just said, no matter how hard they try, they may be able to knock off a few people. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. We've been here a long time, we're going to still be here. It's about the energy. It's about the spirit of the people. What are they into now? That's why they got agents all over. What are they talking about?
They tried to shut this message down. If you remember in the 80s when I came into hip hop, we was wearing the African medallions. You know what I mean? We was Public Enemy with rifles on our album covers. They've been trying to stop this positive rap down. That's when they came with the NWA and all of that. But if you see, not saying they can't stop it. The reason why they fear hip hop so much is because it's different than any other black music. It's done by the urban youth. And in their Masonic Handbook, I remember Steve Coakley years ago, when I first got into consciousness, told me, in their Masonic Handbook, Carol Quigley in the Masonic Handbook, who he says it that what the Illuminati fears most is the urban black youth. And hip-hop was synonymous with the Black Panther Party. So they used the same COINTELPRO hip-hop police tactics to stop it. But now he's telling you can't stop this message. It's in me. So he has a track where he says, yo, don't let them kill me. So what will they do? Use one of my lines to slander me and call me a terrorist? Don't let them kill this. Don't let them kill me. But the message can't die. And that's why he's showing you that.
Yes. Boom. The ruler.
It's here. It's in us.
Shit, he from here. You see what I'm saying? He from here. The ruler. We kings. He was telling you right there, the ruler is back. Alright? He got his right eye covered, so he's dealing with the left eye Horus. Look at it like that too. Why is one eye covered? Left eye Horus. That deals with right brain energy. Anything on the left side, of course, deals with right brain, the creative aspect, the creative energy which he possessed. He's donned in all of, you might say, well, that's kind of gaudy, but we was gaudy. You know what I'm saying? It was nothing to us.
He wasn't just a MC, he brought a different swag. He was a storyteller.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing now. He was telling a story. Once upon a time not long ago where people wore pajamas and lived life slow, he was telling you a whole story and bringing you up to speed. And other MCs who came later took that same style, but just started talking about different things. So, the art of storytelling. He said, all right, let me take y'all ready. Here we go. And that's what we're doing today. Let's just tell a story of who the hell we were and how to get back. How to get back to what? To that, we royalty. And he's right from over here. And he came to the U.S., and shut shop down. And shut shop down. Came with his own style. He was the first one I know who became multiple personalities. He was Slick Rick and Ricky D. That was unheard of before he did it. He became 2 characters to show you that we can live in multiple dimensions at multiple times. It's nothing. You know what I'm saying? He was Slick Rick and Ricky D, and they would go back and forth. First one to ever do that. Again, supreme storytelling. Now, to show you how powerful the story was, the children's story, you know what I'm saying? 83, knocked down by a tree by a university, and the whole cop shit, it actually happened to him. Basically, almost word for word. So you have to watch what comes out of your mouth because it has a magnetic vibration to it. It has a signature that goes out, and if it don't hit its target, guess what? Shit's coming back.
You see what I'm saying? So you have to watch what you say at all times. When Biggie said I was ready to die, guess what? He died. You see what I'm saying? It's all of Tupac shit was talking about death. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be careful based on how powerful your magic is. It's whether you know you got the magic or not. So we have to watch and guard our words. You know what I'm saying? Which is very key. Boom. Long live the king.
He's drinking purple, showing you that he's royalty. And he got the flat top looking like a Moorish fez.
That's the Moorish fez right there.
And he got the three goddesses, Isis, Hathor, and Ma, you know, feeding them nectars, grapes. And grapes, you know, represents immortality. He's showing you that he's immortal. Long live the king, Cain. You know?
Exactly. So these were archetypes in the music that were still giving us and conveying messages to us. Listen, we kings. They want us to be slaves, but we kings. The ruler is back. You know what I mean? So when they see it, if you're into the occult, and a lot of them white boys are, you know what I'm saying, they study early. So they understand what it means. Oh, the ruler's back. What is he saying on a whole nother level? On an archetypal level.
On
you know what I'm saying?
Level, he's drinking from a holy grail.
Exactly.
That's exactly what he's drinking from. You see the crushed grapes, that represents the blood. And he's being fed by feminine energy. So you can tell that's Osiris in the flesh. We are Osiris. That's Osiris in the flesh sitting on the throne. And Isis is standing right behind him. That's a formula right there. So, you know.
So for those who have to train, you know, first eye to pick that up, they knew that we were reassembling who we were. Whether we knew it or not, it just is. You can't make a cat be nothing but a cat. You can try, but it's a cat. You know what I mean? How many times you got a kitten, and how does he know to go to the kitty box? He just knows. How does he know to stop chasing mice around and shit? No one trained him. He just knows, I'm a cat, I gotta catch this mouse. It is what it is. We are gods. And they can try along the way to get us not to remember and all that, but slowly but surely, the ruler's back. That's all I gotta say. Next. Boom! That says it all. We are all under the scope. We are public enemy, number one. Okay? So, they're at work doing what they're supposed to be doing to hold us back. We need to be at work doing what the hell we're supposed to be doing. And we are all targets. All of us. Their survival depends on, boom, our energy. We're going to talk about that too.
It's a very important logo too, because the B-boy standing in the scope.
Yes.
All that represents your angles, the way you stand, you're standing in that position. But if anybody remembers the Terminator Part 2, Sean Connery, the kid who was supposed to lead forth the prophecy, he's wearing a Public Enemy shirt. And he was the Public Enemy #1. So it lets you know, it was not about no white boy Sean Connery, it's about us. And we going against the rise of the machines as you watch the whole Terminator series and things of that nature. So we all been Public Enemy #1, and we still are. And
as we get into the rise of the machines, that's what destroyed hip-hop. Machines. You know what I'm saying? Once technology kicked in and they could manufacture thoughts using certain rappers to convey messages to millions of people that they sanction, dead. It is no longer an organic energy. It is no longer moving. And I'm going to show, we're going to play some more music, and I'm going to show you our first means of communication. We're going to get into all of that. But once they could manufacture who they wanted to put in front of the camera at all times that was a part of their program, it shut down the creative energy that we had before that time. Boom, another shot. The enemy strikes black. Look at the colors.
The white man was afraid of this. They didn't know what kind of army Public Enemy had. They thought Public Enemy had a whole army behind him. They was afraid of that. They was afraid of that. The S1Ws, you had Flav, back when Flav was saying something, went a big clock. I don't care what anybody says. Flav, they had to destroy what Flavor Flav is now. But if you look at him back then, he's saying, do you know what time it is? But when I came up, I didn't know what the fuck it was. I was just like, I just liked the group. But now I understand the symbolism. Do you know what time it is? So we had to be so flamboyant. Like, wake up, people. I got a clock on. Do you know what time it is? And everybody grew up listening to Public Enemy. White boys, black people's listening to it. But how many people are in this room now? We should have the whole of UK up in here, but not too many people understood what he was saying.
And Professor Griff is a story in itself. You know what I'm saying? Because he, see, for a lot of them in the group, you know, there was a group. He was really, and he still is militant. He was like, listen, we're going to come in and do 2 albums and we're going to bounce. That That was the agreement between him and Chuck. That we're going to come in, shake up the world, and then we're going to bounce.
Right.
However, the industry itself began to, you know what I'm saying, change certain people's views and stuff like that. So when Griff was standing on his square saying what he had to say, he knew that he's not going to be here long anyway. I got 2 hours and I'm out. And then that's what the split with him and Chuck, and remember, that also represented Elijah Muhammad denouncing Malcolm, symbolically. You know what I'm saying? Because Chuck was the main man, but the one who was in control of the army was Griff.
He was the minister of information.
Boom. And when Malcolm said what he said, and just a chicken was coming home to roost, and he had to be silenced, that's what Griff said. Griff didn't lie. They asked him, or they asked him off camera. So the dude, black dude, did the interview with him, and then kept the camera on. You know what I'm saying? And then asked him some real shit, like, yo, who rules hip-hop? And he said, yo, hip-hop is run by Jews.
By Jews. He just told the truth.
He wasn't lying, but dude had the camera running the whole time. See what I'm saying? Went and ran back to Massa.
But we gonna show you how
Gave this to Massa. You know what I mean? And Chuck had a choice to make. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, Rick Rubin is the brainchild behind Public Enemy.
Right.
Rick Rubin. So now Rick Rubin is Jew. So now you got this Jewish dude in the group saying something. So now Chuck, what you gonna do? I help put you on. I'm Rick Rubin. And Rick Rubin had the whole ADL behind him. So Chuck had to make a decision, and he denounced Griff. Symbolic to Elijah denouncing Malcolm. All right? So, boom, boom. This is what we're trying to do. Get free. This is who we are. This is who we're trying to be. And you got to be careful. This is double play. Dead Prez represents dead presidents. And we know dead presidents is fiat money. So dead presidents, per se, will not get us free. It will keep us in bondage. Because we don't control the financial game. That's a whole other game being played with, you know, issuing you money that don't exist, but you have to pay them back with real money and shit. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Credit and shit. That's all it is. I'm going to issue you some money that don't exist. You got to pay me back with money that do. You see what I'm saying? So, but they was just letting us know. They are the dead press, and it's time to get free.
These brothers was taking no shorts. I remember this album. I was in college at the time. I always saw the album. I never bought it. I put it to the side. But I remember I went to a lecture by Steve Copley, and he started opening me up to conspiracy. So shit started ricocheting in my head. I go back, I pick up the album, and the brother's like, nigga, the red is for the gun in my arm, the black is for the gun in my palm, and the green is for the trauma that grows natural, like locks on Africans, holding the smoke from the herb in my abdomen, camouflage fatigues and dashikis. I'm somewhere in between NWA and PE. I'm black like Steve Biko. I'm raised by the ghetto, by the people. Fuck the police. You know how we do. That shit did something to me when I heard that. You know what I'm saying? When I heard that, it just made it so clear. I'm like, that's fucking hip-hop right there. It makes me feel like I'm somebody, and I know my enemy, I'm clear. Before that, I was making decisions over here, decisions over there. But when I got clear, that press was telling me, and it was right in their face. Right in their face when you can't deny that. That was a stir-up right there.
And look how young everyone in that picture is.
Right.
Over in South Africa, the 95% of the movement was 18 and younger. He said, young kids ready to die. To bring change, huh? I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you got that picture from. Sierra Leone? Okay, same thing. You know what I'm saying? Same thing.
And that's why they fear hip-hop. They know that this can happen with hip-hop, and they're afraid of it. That's what they're afraid of. Fear of a black planet.
Fear of a black planet.
Fear of a black planet. And they know that hip-hop is the vehicle to do that, and you see a black planet coming through, and that's what America fears the most. So they had to kill your Tupacs. And then they had to kill Big to make it look like an East Coast, West Coast war. They had to kill Pac. Pac was telling you to Illuminati, to kill the Illuminati. If you really tap into that message, most people don't even know what the Illuminati, but Pac put it right there. I'm the Machiavelli, the 7-day theory. He was telling me, man, I got a plan that can make this shit flip in 7 days. The Don Illuminati. And if anybody knows who the Illuminati is, that would wake up many people. Just that album cover alone by Tupac lets you know people are sleeping. So they had to kill Pac and make it look gang-related by then killing Big. Because they know by now, it might have been Tupac running for president instead of Barack. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
By now, think about it. Pac was only 25 years old at the time. They know this brother's about to refine his ways and get up. Because Pac was still, you know, he was still a little bit here and a little bit there with it, but he would have refined his ways. Pac was about to start One Nation. Nas, Big, Wu-Tang, he was getting all of them together. Boot Camp Click, they was all getting together. Right after he died, he was going to start the One Nation. That's the nation right there. You see the Black Planet coming through. They knew at that point they had to kill Tupac. And to this day, people who's not on the frequency don't understand it, but they had to kill him. That's to show you how important and powerful your hip-hop is, because your hip-hop is really this. It's really that. It's really this right here. But they got to come in and stifle and shake things up, you know what I mean, to make you think it's just all entertainment. Nah, it's not entertainment.
So it is a fear, 5 minutes for the tape, all right. It is a fear of a Black Planet. So understand racism in itself is not personal. It's my survival depends on keeping you at bay. Because if not, I'm gone. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at it like that, understand it's not personal. It's not personal against you. It's my survival depends on it. It's just like when the lion is at the top of the mountain and he's scheming on the dead. It ain't personal, nigga. You gotta go. I am going to eat you. It's about to pop off. You see what I'm saying? It's not personal. It's just my survival depends on me eating you, son. That's just it. That's survival. So when you look at racism in that sense, understanding that if we're able to replenish the earth the way we do, a certain amount of people who are a minority that use technology to make you think they're the majority, you see what I'm saying, would vanish. Literally. And I'm going to tell you, if I was one, I'd have the same mentality. If I knew what time it was, like, look, we got to keep this shit on. Because if not, I vanish. Now, there are those white ones who are trying to get into the black womb so that they can maybe make it into the 4th dimension and reverse their technology. You know what I'm saying? There are those on the advanced level who are trying to do that. But for the most part, they're just trying to survive. All right? So we got to keep that in mind, too. All right, you want to change the tape?
It's got about 4 minutes.
All right, keep it rolling.
Next up, we got Outkast Stankonia. They're letting you know we from Atlanta, but we gonna report to the world that it's not a red, white, and blue thing. It's a black and white thing, no matter how you look at it.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? They let you know.
And that also ties in with the fear of a Black Planet. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how the flag would probably look.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? For the most part. You know
that's just how black people feel. It is a fucking black and white thing. I don't care how you look at it. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Give me my shit back. That's a black and white thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. What it is. You know what I'm saying?
That's how I feel every day. Give me my shit. I don't want reparations. Give me my knowledge back. Give me my shit back. That's how we feel.
Yeah.
That press said it. Make my nigga want to wild out, run up in the White House with the gauge out, click clack, nigga. Give me my shit back. But they don't play that on the radio. That's the shit I listen to every day. And that's how these brothers feel. It's a black and white thing. They put it in the backdrop.
Exactly. Boom. Yeah, you go ahead. So they had to begin that process with the lethal injections.
To put us to sleep.
Put us back to sleep.
And Cuba's letting you know it's a lethal injection.
You know what I mean? So they definitely began to put us back to sleep. Mentally, physically, and spiritually. You know what I mean? And look where that shit is going, right in the neck. You out. You know what I mean? And they began to put us to sleep with NWA. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And not the group NWA, because they didn't have nothing to do with it per se. It's the one who had their hand in their back. The puppeteer, the puppet master, who understands that in, East Coast, hip-hop was spiritual hip-hop. Just like in the Far East, we get all our spiritual sciences from. The West is the corrupt. You know what I'm saying? When you think of the West. So when the first rap groups came from the West, that's how they look. Let's counter that East prophecy, that science that's coming from the East with some West Coast-ish. So Public Enemy didn't have, NWA themselves didn't have anything to do with it. They were just rapping about what they saw, talking about what they saw. Remember their first song, Express Yourself, Fuck the Police. We was all with that. He was like, yeah, nigga, fuck the police. That's a universal record, fuck the police. I heard y'all police ain't even got guns. No. That shit would never fly in Brooklyn. No. Never. Y'all ain't got what? Nigga, this is a gun, ain't it? You know what I'm saying? So that shit would never fly in Brooklyn. I'm telling you that shit now. So they used NWA to counter Public Enemy's energy. You know what I mean? And then that's when me and Tim Dog, Crazy, had to come out with, you know what I'm saying, for content. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother lecture for a whole nother day. What are they after?
The mind. They're trying to fragment up. That's the Roots album cover phrenology. But if you look inside it, there's an Elvis, there's a Ku Klux Klan, there's a Malcolm by the Door, there's a Jigaboo, a Coon, Blackface, there's a big question mark. They're trying to fuck your whole shit up. You know what I mean?
Keep your shit compartmentalized. The brain has, don't quote these numbers, 13 times 13 times 13. Whatever that number is, 2,100 something. Different compartments. And they have ways to place shit in compartment 97 that you may not realize at the time. At a certain events will trigger to bring that particular personality to the front, and you want go into a mall and shoot everybody up in the mall. And don't know why. Some shit that's been planted long time ago. You know what I'm saying? So your mind has the ability to maintain 2,100 something different compartments. That's how deep we are. People are healing themselves now by becoming different people. Become the polar opposite of who you are in your mind. And stick to it, and all of a sudden you start healing. Because you know, it's a placebo effect. All is meant to anyway. They have done tests to show they strap up different artists or athletes and have them physically running, and the machine is giving them a reading, and then they tell the next dude, just stand there and act like you're running in your mind, and the same muscles pop off. All right. This is what they after too. That's that honey.
Yeah.
That black woman. That nectar. You know what I mean? Keeping it 100%.
Found a youth that can give you everlasting.
Everlasting.
Because we could live forever. That's the thing. That's what hip hop is getting back to. The fact that we could never die. And that's what Erykah Badu's telling you on that she got that honey. You know what I mean? She has the for eternal life on her ring, and she's drinking from the sap.
And we know the healing properties of that honey, fellas. We should know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just keep it 100. You know what I mean? So this is what they're really after. Control of the black woman, control the nation. You know, this is scientific. They deal with things from a scientific level. You know what I mean? They know if they can control one aspect, the other aspect is done. And this went all the way back to slavery. So what they would do is make the black man, if he was strong and his features, populate a whole village to make more slaves. Or denounce the black man in front of his woman. That has a psychological effect on the woman, because when she has her baby, she wants her baby to be more docile and more, you know what I'm saying, feminine-like, so that the slave master won't come in and scoop his ass up. You see what I'm saying? All of that's science. So the woman, the fear of her, wanting to protect her cub. You know what it is? She's protecting the cubby. That's a natural instinct for a mother to want to protect her child, especially after she see what happened to her other child or her husband. So she don't want him to grow up big and strong. That's where mama's boy come from. You know what I'm saying? He's a mama's. She don't want him to go big and strong, because if he comes up growing big and strong, he gonna have that scope on him early. All that science. So our women began to, you know, dumb us down, so to speak, and, you know, feminize us. You know what I'm saying? For protection. All right? That shit is deep. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look at her afro in this joint. Wow.
New America.
Crazy.
A lot of symbolism in the afro, and I hear speak volumes. You know what I mean? Like the other day, I had my hair braided up, and when I walk around the practice, be like, "What the fuck is that? That's my crown." So she's letting you know from the ethers, we transmit a lot of energy into our hair and out. And then she put up a 2 fists. She didn't put up one. She put up 2, letting you know it's a New America. With, you know, we used to wear 4-finger rings. All that style, that fashion was trying to relay a message. And she's telling you it's a New America. It's a time for a change. Some people think America's fine, but she's saying, nah, it's a new America. We need something different, something new. And that speaks a lot.
Yes.
With a black power afro, looking like Angela Davis. It's a message going on.
Because our women, we need our women to be more militant. Not physically militant. That's not what I'm talking about. That's our job as men. But we need them to roll with us. You know what I'm saying? We need, if they line up and roll with us, ball game.
She's letting you know, brothers, I'm supporting you.
That's what it is.
She's the foundation. She's putting it up right there. I got you on this one. And we need the sisters to hold us down.
All the way. If that means making sandwiches for the road trip. Whatever it may mean. You know what I mean? But I need you to be on board. Because without the blessing of my queen, I really can't do what I do. We lined up. We understand the dangers involved. We understand everything that takes place. But if I got her love and support 100%, and she going to roll with me, ball game's over. So that's why they got the black men and black women separate. They got us at each other's throat and all that kind of shit. That's what that's all about. Boom.
And that's what they do to the black woman. She got chased down the street at a particular time, putting fear inside you. Look at the expression on her face. You see what I'm saying?
Because the fear in her will mint to the child, into the womb. You know what I'm saying? Which is the cosmic everything, the black womb. You know what I'm saying? So they need to change the alchemical vibration of the womb. instill fear in our women. And the rest is what it is.
And a lot of women still have this fear, but when are the women going to take it from that expression to this and say, fuck that, man, it's time for a change. It's a new America. Because this is still going on, quiet as kept. This same fear goes inside of a lot of women as they walk around. You know, some people, when they cross, you know, authorities path, those same cops, people tend to still put their head down. This same thing is still going on. It's not as overt as if you're getting chased down the block, but it's still happening to Rodney King. Brother Sean Bell is still getting shot up. This same type of oppression is still going on, but when are we going to have this type of fight back? You know what I mean? It's a new America. It's time to bring a change. Hip-hop brings that message. That's what made me feel strong when I listened to these rhymes. And that's what they're trying to do to the message, lock it up. The Public Enemy's letting you know it takes a nation of millions to hold it back. That's the first album I ever got when I was younger. My father bought me that album. He supported everything that I love. And that right there changed my life. When Public Enemy was saying, I got a letter from the government the other day, I opened and read it. It said they were suckers. They wanted me for the army or whatever. Picture me giving a damn, I said never. I didn't understand it at the time. I just loved the rhymes, the way they was flowing. But as I got older, it dawned on me like, yo, they was talking about being resistant to something. And that's crazy. Chuck's voice was crazy. Chuck's voice was crazy.
Is phenomenal. His voice, you know, and it's sort of, in a weird way, sounded like a reverend. But a hip-hop reverend. You know what I'm saying? Because the science of talking has a science to it too. That's why the reverend speaks a certain way, because he's tuning in to your frequency. You know what I mean? And Chuck voice, but it was all about hip hop at that time.
And I know that times are changing because, you know, we're from New York, and when you walk through Harlem now, there's a whole change of things that's going on. You know, white folks is infiltrating. Bill Clinton came in and said, white folks, it's okay to come to Harlem now. And look at Flavor Flav now. Who fears Flavor Flav anymore? If you can look at the look on his face, you want to fuck with a man like that. Look at Flavor Flav's face now, but now he's corning on TV. You know, Flavor of Love and things of that nature. So they had to destroy the motif to make you understand. Little kids now, they can't believe that Flavor is ever about anything serious. And that's a ritual. That's a ritual that
we talk about that in depth.
Because if America really cared about us, why would you put Flavor Flav on TV? Why would you put that on TV if you really cared about black children? It's about destroying a motif because they know that this album right here and all the albums were liberating. So they have to destroy that because they know that this is a tool that's going to make black folks wake up. And if you look at the album cover, look the look on their face, they got a lot to say.
Yeah, and also remember, Flavor Flav was always joking back then, but what he did was he balanced out the seriousness that Chuck had and Griff. So when you went to a Public Enemy concert, Flavor Flav was the entertainer. He kept you entertained and stuff. And Griff and Chuck were dropping those messages. Now they're using Flav as a time machine to go back and shut the porthole on the other end. Because here it is, you got young brothers and sisters who are being born on the planet now, and they're warriors. They have a warrior spirit. They have decided to come down at this particular time to get it on. Part of their lessons is to study Public Enemy. Certain things, you know what I'm saying, going through the school. Now, Flavor Flav has screwed that up so much that when you give a young dude, like he said, a Public Enemy album, they cannot believe that that's who Flavor Flav is now. So when I talk to young dudes about Flavor now, Public Enemy, all they say is Flavor Flav. Right. They're thinking of him as the buffoon. As the buffoon, not as the warrior. So they're using Flavor Flav now to make you forget about Public Enemy then. And they can do it by using Flav. And remember, in the movie Terminator, what they had to do, go back in time to stop something that was going to take place now. And who was Public Enemy's DJ? What was his name? Terminator. And what was Chuck wearing? I mean, Flavor wearing? A clock. So they're going back in time to shut that other in. Now, for us who are older, we know who Public Enemy was and it will never change. But for the next generation of warriors who decided to come down now to receive their instructions, because that's another thing. We got warriors coming down and they don't know who they're supposed to be fighting. So they start fighting each other. Because they have a warrior spirit. I just said, if you're a cat, you're going to do things that cats do. So if you're a warrior, it's in your DNA and blood to come down here and get it on. But because we haven't left the instructions for you to study and know who to get it on with, we start getting it on with each other. And that's why we in the state we're in now.
And like God said, when Flav was, nowadays when Flav says Flavor Flav, they was trying to counter things like racist, the sucker was simple and plain. Motherfuck you and John Wayne. That's what they were saying about Elvis. So they had to counter stuff like that and now make it look like a minstrel. Flav, he was saying things that was just too powerful. You know, trying to say a white man started rock. Racist, the sucker was simple and plain. So they was kicking it like that.
And also, now when Public Enemy performs, people are there to see Flavor Flav.
Yep.
Based on the TV show. They ain't really concerned with the group and none of that shit. They there to see Flavor Flav.
Professor Griff told me that myself. He told us that when we was in Atlanta with him. He said they don't even come to see Public Enemy no more. They, you know, Flav got a bunch of loony girls in the front asking for autographs from Flav from Flavor of Love fame. So they're not even, nobody listened to the message. And I think even from back then to now, it's always been predominantly white folks that go to see Public Enemy. It's always been that. It's always been
and he's a talisman. Just like you would create a talisman in your room. Flav, look at him. He look like a fucking talisman. He looked like he was scared the shit out of my children if I hang his picture in the wall. I'm gonna start using that shit. You get your homework done, Father. Put this Alright? Get the shit in order in the house. Next. Boom. That pearly white. This is an extremely important component in hip-hop, and it's an important part of the COINTEL program. Remember, they kept flooding our hood with drugs, and drugs that are not melanin conducive. Your melanin, when you sniff this shit in your body, the melanin in your body, know that this is foreign, this is crazy foreign. It immediately goes to investigate what that shit was, and then leave you vulnerable for other shit. You see what I'm saying? So this is totally anti-melanin. Look, it's white. Anything white, you know, flour, sugar, all that shit is bad. Milk. You know what I'm saying? All that shit will twist you up. So this was important in the 70s. This took down a lot of the first rappers. You know what I'm saying? Busy Bee and all them dudes was doing all this kind of shit. It's crazy. So it began to flood the hood. And once something of this magnitude comes into the hood, it takes a lot of our soldiers out. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot. Check this out. The melanin, again, is an intelligence. So they'll knock a few of us off, but once that melanin begins to read what was going on, and it begins to protect us once again. I told you that in We Be Like Roaches, in the book. Every time you put down some damn roach spray, some roaches is gonna die. But before you know it, they sniffing that shit like it's yayo. Yeah, nigga, send some more of that shit down. You gotta keep changing the brand of the boric acid. You know what I'm saying? Because once they figure that shit out, and roaches is like us, quiet as cat. We're the only two things that's gonna ever survive a nuclear blast. Black people and roaches. So those are your friends. Get used to it if you have